Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back doing another stream highlight. This time in the Alaska. But I know what you're thinking. Spartan, you literally just posted an Alaska game the other day. What's going on? And it's simple. This is a stream highlight, meaning this is one of the best games I've ever had in this ship, and actually turns out to be the best game I've ever had in the Alaska. So, if that floats your boat, if that suits your fancy, or tickles your fancy, whatever you want to call it, you're in for a treat. And if it doesn't, just stick around, I promise. I got some funny stuff for you. Anyway, now you may notice that there's no sound, and I apologize once again, but there seems to be a growing number of people that when I post these stream highlights, they don't like to hear the raw, unedited version of the commentary, which is fair. It is 100% fair, which is why I leave the VODs up for the live streams. If you guys want to check this one out, this was the latest World of Warships live stream from Wednesday. If you want to check this one out, highly recommend you hit that live stream up, and you won't be disappointed. There's plenty of good old-fashioned Spartan salt for everybody to enjoy. Plus a lot of Spartan introspection going on. Anyway, so let's get this party started, shall we? Let's unravel the gift of the greatest Alaska game I've had to date. And I've had some doozies, folks, so you know this one's going to be a good one if it's the best. Now, if you watched it on the live stream, leave me a comment down in the comments below saying, I saw this live, it was epic. Because it was. For all the right reasons. And some wrong ones. But Navarin is full broadside and begging for it. Now, to his credit, he did turn away at the beginning of the match. And managed to dodge those shells just before they came in and slapped the shit out of him. Right? Oh, you thought I was going to curse there. I can censor myself in post-production. What a thought. I'm crazy. It's funny how that works, right? Like if I'm in the heat of combat, I can get all excited and crazy, and people are like, oh my gosh, you're so mean. Why are you so mean? It's just a game. And then in post-production, most chill person in the world, I get to sit back, have a little bit of fun, and tease you guys. Because that's what I get to do. So, meh. Just stuck my tongue out at you. Now, Stalingrad, I mean, look at this shot. This is 18.5 kilometers away at the broadside of Stalingrad. I want you to remember this from yesterday's Vermont video when I slapped this guy from this far away. Boink! There goes half that man's hit points from 18.5 kilometers away with an Alaska with 305s, right? Vermont got 12 guns on the broadside of the man at half the range and didn't citadel it once. I'm sorry, what? What was that? I'm still salty. But what are the odds that in the same week I managed to have the best game in my Vermont and the best game in my Alaska, and both of them were live? Which just goes to show you, folks, if you don't get a chance to check me out while I'm live, highly recommend it. Yeah, strong language. That's a given. It's literally first thing in the description when I do live streams. But look at this beautiful textbook aggressive play. Not stupid, but aggressive. I can put myself in a position to counter these guys. Now, watch what happens next. This is not ideal. The enemy Mino is there, and you can see I took a couple of hits on my way in, so I know that the Mino is capable of hitting me. So I'm backing up. I'm trying to angle against the Mino as best I can. Navarin's not really posing a threat, and I'm pretty sure at this point he just flat out gave up. The guy is just parked broadside. He's like, this, I'm out. I'm on to the next one. I don't know if he gets a 0 or not, but he's not long for this world. But as we tease the Mino a little bit, we end up backing up, getting him to shoot one way, and then we go forward, and he ends up missing most of his shells. This is how you deal with a Mino at distance. Now, unfortunately, I hit the freaking island here, and that's not ideal. But we kill the guy that's spotting us, so at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing in the world. But you can see how long it takes the Mino shells to get to you. So little movements forward and backwards go a long way at dodging a Mino and throwing their aim off. Now, I want you to pay attention to these people behind me. These are the people that cause these kind of games. And we talk about this a lot, but a lot of people don't realize this. Potatoes are a blessing and a curse. For two reasons. Not just because potatoes go both ways. You can have potatoes on the enemy team, potatoes on your team. But for a game to be like incredible, like we had in the Vermont, like we're having right now, for a game to be absolutely incredible, you need two things. You need potatoes on both sides, but you need both teams to be just good enough to not get yeeted and just bad enough to not do any damage to one another, right? Now this Mino, he's I can't explain what this guy thought he was doing. This is not how you play Mino. I am in one of the ships that you just absolutely stay the away from in a Mino. And that is the Alaska and the Stalingrad for the exact same reasons. They have radars and they have the ability to overmatch you. So hiding in your smokescreen from an Alaska or a Stalingrad is a guarantee way to get yourself sent home with haste. Right? So if you're a Mino player, keep this in mind. There are two ships that you simply must avoid at all costs. There are more than that, but there are two that you simply have to avoid at all costs, and that is an Alaska and a Stalingrad, because both of these ships will spot you, and they will send you packing before you have a chance to really do anything. Now, again, I want to point to the fact that this Mino has been spotted for a long time. We have multiple battleships behind us, but they're not shooting, right? They're not really doing anything substantive. And that's going to keep being a problem for quite a while. So I want you guys to pay attention. We're already 128,000 damage. We have completely decimated our flank. And now we are in the perfect place to raffle stomp the enemy. Except, if you look on the minimap, right here, see how the bottom? I'm actually telling my teammates to try to go to the left here. Why do I want this? Why do I want my teammates to go away from me? We talk about this all the time too, folks. It is simple. Set up a crossfire. Now, later on, you're going to see that the team does exactly what I kind of hinted at in the thing, except they didn't. All right? And this is what leads to frustration in the actual video clip if you go back and watch the live stream. They do exactly what I pointed out on the map. They go exactly where I pointed on the map. And that is a bad thing, because they all go to the exact same spot, and nobody does the thing that I wanted them to do, which was set up a crossfire, right? Those of you who answered the question, right? Pat yourself on the back right now. You get the POB. But Salem comes out full broadside, knocks on the door, and gets rewarded. I'm home, sunshine. You wanted it. Why the do people do this? Now, I appreciate it when they're on the enemy team. But why? How many times do I have to say, don't knock on someone's door that you don't want shooting you? It's a guarantee way to get smashed. Now, look at the Navarran here. We're already planning our next attack, right? Navarran is out there. He's very low health, but we don't have a shot. Unfortunately, he goes dark right as we get our guns loaded. We can't quite get the shot off, but we get one shot out there. It's probably going to hit the island, and then the other shot at the Ohio. Now, look at what I'm using. I'm using the island. I'm bow into the Ohio. Ohio does not overmatch me. Remember, Ohio has 457 millimeter guns. They do not overmatch 32 millimeters of armor. They only overmatch 30, I think it's 31 something. Somebody can do the math. It is 457 divided by 14.3, and you'll get the number. It's either 30 point something or 31 point something. It's not enough to overmatch 32 mils. Why is that important? Because I, like most battleships, have a 32 millimeter bow at high tiers. The Alaska is unique in this. I say unique. It's not that unique. There are a lot of ships at higher tiers that have 30 plus millimeters. But a lot of the cruisers at legendary tier, especially the kitey kind of fire spammy kind of dudes, they, as we wipe out the Navarran, you gotta love that thought process, right? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I initially push in a little bit too aggressive here, and I realized that this is not gonna end well for me pretty quickly. We catch the Stalingrad full broadside here. He is angled away slightly. We're going to make him pay for it. Once again, showcasing that the Stalingrad is a floating citadel of sadness if you can catch its broadside. But look on the minimap. We have a battleship heading off to the left side. But he's not heading off to the left side. He's sailing broadside and going all the way back to where he spawned. Now, why would he do that? Where is there anything anywhere near where he's sitting that could potentially be a thing. Now, Stalingrad gets some shots at me, but he's not the only one. We know that there's a Montana out there. We know that there's a Gross Kurfürst right around the corner from us. So we've got to play smart, right? We limit who can shoot us, using the island cover to block us from the Gross Kurfürst, and now we bow in against the Stalingrad. Stalingrad, to his credit, is not an idiot. Despite the fact that we've managed to catch him with his pants down twice and slap the out of him, he's going to prove that he's not an idiot. Look at him angled. He's angled. He's able to fire all of his guns at a relatively safe angle. I probably should have aimed further aft here, but I wasn't sure exactly what he was planning to do as he goes in reverses, making that shot land further forward than I maybe wanted. Now, I can probably citadel him through the rear cheek, but notice he starts closing that angle as well. He knows. He's been here. He's seen this. He's done that, right? He's got the ticket. If you've played the Stalingrad enough, you know exactly what happens to you if you get caught. Right? We all have been there. I've been there. You've been there. If you've got this Stalingrad and you get caught, you get slapped. That's all it is. But the guy hasn't played poorly. And you can see as he's angling away from us again, I've had to change where I aim. Now he goes to HE here, which is a smart move. I'm saturated. You can see my superstructure's all black. I'm saturated. But I also am recognizing the fact that there is a Ohio in the cap with me right now. That is not ideal. But I have a battleship behind me, a cruiser behind me, and then the battleship that's at Charlie that was going left has now done a full circle and is now broadside again facing the other direction as we citadel on Montana at 11 kilometers. For those people that always talk about how bad the Alaska is, this should prove to you that that is not the case. Now, I knew that there's always the chance that this Ohio could push up. But I was hoping that my teammates would be in a position to stop that from being a problem. And they're not. None of them are, in fact. And he is going to realize pretty quickly that I am not capable of watching everything all at the same time. And he catches me with my pants down, citadels me, breaks my gun, and he's not in a position... Well, he can be shot by the friendly cruiser, but that's it. The battleships are completely out of play. Neither of them capable of shooting anything, really, except for the people that are furthest away, right? And this is what leads to the frustration, because I see this stuff. Now, I'm going to say this right now. The cruiser played well enough. I'm not going to hate on the cruiser at all here. But if you're one of these battleships, you've got to be smarter. You have to be. Now, fortunately, Yama comes around the corner. The Ohio had just fired, thank God, because if he didn't, this Yama goes back to port. But the Ohio goes after Yoshino. Yoshino shrugs it off. And the Yoshino is a very tanky cruiser. I wish I got to play the Yoshino. I never got to. Remember, that was back before I got my CC status back. Never got a chance to play the thing. Wasn't going to spend $1 gajillion to get it out of the Christmas whatever. It just wasn't a thing. It wasn't a possibility for me. So never got to play it. But I love the Azuma, and it's essentially a super Azuma, right? It's an Azuma on crack because it has ridiculous torpedoes to go with it, right? I love it. But he's tanky. He could have been a little bit more aggressive too. But I'm not going to hate on him because he gets what is called a helping hands, right? He gets essentially a Kraken as the Spartan medal, right? I call it the Spartan medal for a reason, and that is simple because I always leave everybody with just enough to get away. But we finished this game with 11 citadels, 226,000 damage, fighting everything, while our two battleships that are both top tier, both fully capable of helping, sat back and watched. And if you think I'm being harsh when I say that, wait till you see the final XP totals. Now, I've got to give it to him. Beautiful shot. Right into the superstructure. Slaps the out of that GK. Beautiful shot. Problem is, he goes full broadside to get all of his guns to bear while the enemy can still shoot at him. So he takes a huge hit in return, and he takes forever to decide to get angled. And so he's going to get hit again. Now, the Yoshino is in the cap. We helped make sure that the Ohio never actually captured the base, which was good for our team. But here you can see he clearly shoots down into the belt of the GK, which is where all of the armor is. We talk about this a lot. If somebody is angled to you, unless you've done the shot before and you realize that you have the pin angle to do so, you're simply better shooting the upper belt or even better superstructure. And the GK is phenomenally heavy HP to the superstructure, right? Like, just like every American battleship, every German battleship, The GK has the exact same witness, and you can see there he's at a better favorable angle. He also aims a little bit higher. The shells end up hitting the upper side plating superstructure and maybe even had enough to go through the belt. But as he pushes in, he now bow tanks this guy, and this one is not in any doubt. But you saw how much hit points this man traded in a single one-on-one engagement, and this is why battleship captains get a nasty remark from me more often than not, because I am a battleship main. I understand what you are going through in the moment, right? And I see this at a different level than most battleship captains. I'm not saying I'm amazing. I'm simply better than average, and you can see that when you see other battleship captains play. But 3,600 base XP is now my highest base XP I've ever had in the Alaska. 226,000 damage is my highest ever damage in the Alaska. So this is by far my best game in the Alaska that I have ever played, despite the frustration that we felt with the three people in the back. And again, Yoshino, I'll give you a credit. You at least did your thing, right? But the two battleships, Yamato and Grossa Kurfürst, if that Yamato had simply, instead of going all the way back around to the left side of the island and then doing a loop and coming back, if that Yamato had simply gone around to the left, he could bow tank the Ohio, because the Ohio doesn't overmatch him, and he just murders the Ohio completely one-on-one, right? That's all he had to do. That sets up the crossfire. That keeps the Ohio out of the fight. He can never push up on me, so I'm alive, right? And that basically seals the game away. Now, fortunately, in this one, the game still was not in question because, again, the enemy played pretty poorly all the way around the map, other than that Ohio pushing in when he did. And the Stalingrad, like I said, I got nothing against the Stalingrad. The guy played pretty well in the 1v1 against me. He knows to switch when he has to, but he just got caught too many times with his pants down. And in Stalingrad, you don't have the agility that you get in some of the other ships, and you definitely don't have the Alaska's I get away with it, the get out of jail free card that the Alaska generally has. Now, that's why I was even more shocked that I managed to get Citadel by the Ohio when he come around the corner, because I was mostly broadside, and at that range, it's not easy to hit the Citadel of an Alaska with a battleship. But anyway, this was a fun game either way. And I hope that you guys enjoyed my breakdown of one of my best games of all time. And this was, in fact, my best game in the Alaska of all time. So if you like these kind of breakdowns of our stream highlights, where I just go through and I talk you guys through what I'm thinking, what's going on around me, and try to explain everything, let me know. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.